Hi everybody. So this is going to be a quick rundown on the ancient China lecture. So here we go. All right. Basically, this slide covers kind of background information. And none of this is really that important for the exam. You do want to pay attention to the Zhou dynasty here. So the Zhou dynasty is kind of where things get started. You can see it's almost in power for about 800 years. And by the time the Zhou dynasty is ending, you're going to move into what is going to be the first unified dynasty in ancient Chinese history and the first emperor. But the Zhou kind of sets that up. Um, so the way they set it up is with this, the mandate of heaven. So by overthrowing the Qing dynasty, the Zhou dynasty basically creates this kind of inherited system of power where the ruler rules the one ruler rules based off of kind of a heavenly foundation. So the kind of the equation works: one heaven equals one ruler. So it's another. It's just this example of the power of the emperor, who's ruling, based off of reality, basically. And so if the ruler is not good, the people can overthrow him. All right. The greatest thinker to come out of ancient China is Confucius. And really quick on Confucius, definitely read up on the on Confucius in the textbook. There's also an accompanying video here that'll help explain it. I posted a long time ago, and now it it really goes well with this. But Confucius is more of a moralist. Bottom line, he thinks that education and morality will help create a good society. And the model he uses is really the relationship between the father and the son. So the idea is if the son is trained well by the father, then this son would then go into government work or public work and be a good ambassador or bureaucrat, basically. But Confucius is central. A lot of thoughts will be bounced off of him. Some a little more strict, and you can see from that Confucius is someone who thinks education can be beneficial to society. There are other Chinese thinkers come after him. These guys aren't on the test, so I'm not gonna spend much time on them. You can look at this yourself. What's more important is the alternatives. Again, Moism is not on the test. Taoism is. So Taoism is way more of, it's more religious. It has similarities to Buddhism. It tends to be pacifist, otherworldly in a sense of like, unlike Confucius, is all about train you to be ready for the public sector. Taoism is more like train you to be separate from the public realm. And, whereas Confucius is all about like, hey, learn tradition, learn rules, learn education. Taoism's like, no, leave all this stuff behind, forget that stuff. So just think of it as a kind of almost polar opposite of Confucianism. Again, there's a accompanying video here that you can check out if you want more info on Taoism, but there are questions on Taoism on your exam. Legalism. Well, again, legalism is, if you remember, I would talk about how the Chinese geeked out on bureaucracy, doing political theory, and this is the basically what comes from that. The legalists are those that really, really, really geek out on political philosophy, making laws, and they basically set up the system for the first emperor and the Qin dynasty. So legalism is on your test. They're a much more strict form of Confucianism, definitely. And so you want to make sure to to study up about them. But that's a basic thing. Finally, you have the last two dynasties that are covered on the test, the Qin and the Han. And what's important about these two dynasties is that the Qin dynasty is the one that follows the legalist. They unify under one sovereign emperor, so the idea of like an emperor is created. Under this emperor, he does a couple of things. If you look at the map here, you see that the Great Wall is created, and this is basically to keep people in, keep people out, as like this. It's a very kind of brutal regime. And then also culturally, you have the creation of the terracotta soldiers here. So there's a picture of this in your textbook you could check out. Well, because they were such a harsh regime, you can see here it's only in power for a little bit of time. It's followed up by the Han Dynasty, and the Han Dynasty, led by Liu Bang, is able to overthrow the Qin and then set up its dynasty. And this dynasty lasts close to about 400 years or so. And the difference between the Han Dynasty and the Qin Dynasty is that the Han Dynasty basically keeps the form of government that the Qin had, but they just kind of soften up the rough edges, alleviate some of the taxation and the very strict laws that the legalist had kind of set up for the Qin to implement. So, yeah, and as you can see, as the Han develops, this is where Confucianism becomes a staple of Chinese culture and Chinese education, Chinese philosophy, and yeah. So I just wanted to cover kind of the main events of the lecture. Please take your time, go through the lecture yourself, watch the videos that accompany it, and make sure to check this with the study guide. Good luck.